Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 types of backlinks to build for SEO to get your traffic looking like this and not looking something like this. But why listen to me? I've been doing SEO for about 10 years now. I've got a link building agency over here at sirlinksalot.co that's been in operation since 2018, where we've built backlinks for almost 2,000 clients in that time. So we've got access to a ton of data regarding what's working and what's not. And if you follow me over on LinkedIn or on Twitter, then you've probably seen me making posts like this one here, or here's another one where I just talk about what kind of link building we're doing for our clients and how we're getting these kind of results week after week. All right, let's get into it. So my number one pick for favorite type of backlink used to rank websites on Google are link insertions, also known as niche edits, and these are relevant, contextual, do-follow links on real sites. Relevance means the links are coming from websites and articles that make sense. And if you need more info on relevance, go watch this video on my new YouTube channel and go ahead and give me a like and a subscribe while you're over there. If you're enjoying the content, that is. Link insertion backlinks are contextual, meaning they appear in a paragraph of information like this, naturally with some natural anchor text instead of somewhere like a footer or a sidebar. They are do follow and not no follow, meaning they pass more link juice. And they come from real sites, meaning it's not something like a PBN or a link farm, which is designed just to sell backlinks. One of the big differences about link insertions is they come from pre-existing articles instead of new articles. So instead of having a new article written for a guest post, which this one right here looks like a very obvious guest post, it'd be more from an article something like this, where you find an article that already exists on the internet and you reach out and ask if your link could be included in this article. And some of the main benefits of this are that because the article already exists and it's already established some trust with Google, it already has some pre-existing backlinks as well. So if we look over at the same link over here again, you can see that this backlink actually comes from an article that has 65 referring domains of its own, which is a lot more stronger than, for example, if it had 0 referring domains on a fresh guest post article. They also tend to be cheaper than other types of outreach-based links like guest posts. They're also easier to scale because you're just getting a link from a pre-existing article, meaning you don't have to have a new article written. And all the back and forth that includes with getting the guest post site or whatever type of content site to actually post the new article on the site. So how can you get them? First of all, you can come get them from an agency such as ourselves over here at sirlink.co, and you can scroll down to see all of our different options here. And also be sure to keep quality over quantity in mind and don't just go for cheap services. I don't know any of these services here, but generally you get what you pay for when it comes to backlinks, right? And next up, you could do outreach, which basically just means reaching out to websites and trying to negotiate a deal where you get a backlink in these articles yourself. To make this process a lot easier would be a tool like Ahrefs, or even better, a tool like Pitchbox. But of course, these tools can be a little bit expensive, and Ahrefs price just keeps going up. And Pitchbox is definitely not that cheap either. One way you could do it on Ahrefs is look up keywords like what is the best dog breed, whatever kind of keyword your article is actually trying to rank for. Then you could go and pull up the backlink profiles of all the articles that are already ranking for that keyword. Then you can go and look through all the backlinks for them. And you know these backlinks are already linking to that specific article, the same type of article that you're trying to rank. So you can then reach out to these websites and see if you can get link insertions on the same articles as well. Or if you want to do it completely manually, you can just get on Google and look up content that would make sense to link to your type of article and go ahead and reach out to those websites. But of course, that's going to be a lot more time consuming. And last up, we have link exchanges. Once your website starts ranking for any kinds of keywords, you're going to start getting people reaching out to you, asking for backlinks or willing to do link exchanges. So you could just send them an email and try to negotiate a deal. And this would be even better if you could negotiate three-way link exchanges, except in the case where the website that you're going to exchange from is really good. Then you could just do a direct link exchange. But you want to be careful not to do too many of these. So I love link insertions. They're number one on my list. They're cheaper than other kinds of outreach-based link building. They're relevant. They come from real websites and they pass a ton of link juice and relevance to your site. And next up, we've got guest posts, and you can see on the very first line here, they're relevant, contextual, do follow links on real sites, so pretty much the exact same thing as link insertions here. But the big difference is they come from new articles instead of existing articles. This means that the articles they come from won't have any pre-existing backlinks of their own, so they won't have as much power. But because you're having a new article written, you can generally dictate what you want the article to be about. So they might end up being a lot more relevant than a niche edit, because with niche edits or link insertions, whatever you want to call them, you're actually just having to pick from what's already out there. So back to Ahrefs over here, we can see this backlink right here, 9 types of tabby cat colors and patterns. This looks like a very obvious guest post to me. Again, right here, the top 5 reasons to include carrots in your dog's diet. And right here, 11 types of bulldogs. These all look like very obvious guest posts to me. They kind of follow this generic formula. But really, you could have a guest post written about whatever you want it to be about. And it looks like these guest posts have some referring domains, so they might not even be guest posts. However, just remember that when you do get a new guest post, it's going to start at 0. That's just the way it is. And just to show you what it might look like, your article might look something like this. And scrolling down, let's see if we can find the link. It looks like it's actually used down here at the bottom, citing as a source, but ideally you'd want it to be in the article contextually like this. A little bit more expensive than link insertions just because you're having to convince webmasters to add a new article to the website. It takes more effort. Because you're having to write the content, that also takes a little bit more work to scale. Whereas for link insertions, you don't have to have the article written, you just try to insert your link into an existing article. But these are still awesome links. They're generally more relevant than link insertions, and they pass a ton of link juice and relevance and trust to your website. And you can get them in the exact same way you get link insertions. You can go through an agency, you can do outreach yourself, or you can do link exchanges. Just know for outreach, you're not going to have to find specific articles that you're getting a link inserted into. Rather, you just want to find websites that are related to your niche and convincing them to post content on their websites. So you could use Ahrefs Keyword Explorer just to enter a keyword in and start gathering sites that post content in your niche. Or you could even just search manually on Google like this and just go down the list and scrape all of these websites and add them to a list. Just note that doing guest posts and link insertions are both a numbers game. You're going to have to reach out to a ton of websites, so having a tool like Pitchbox can definitely help you out a lot. And for the best results, you're going to want to send personalized and direct outreach emails to really grab the person's attention and to try to convince them to work with you. Also, keep in mind this is 2024. People generally expect some kind of compensation for putting links on their websites. It might not have to be money itself, but in general, they might want you to return the favor in some other way. So next up, we've got digital PR, which is maybe the most kind of buzzword type of link building right now. You can see these are relevant contextual backlinks just like the other ones. However, next we have do follow or no follow backlinks. A lot of digital PR ends up being no follow, and that's okay because as we know, Google now treats the no follow tag as a suggestion, and there's been some case studies done where it seems that no follow backlinks can still pass link juice. And we'll get into it a little bit more here just in a second, but these links can come from really great sites, so we don't really care if they are do follow or no follow. Like guest posts, these links are going to come from new articles, not existing articles like link insertions. This means that we're not really going to be able to control the relevance, but actually we can control the relevance in a way. It's just not going to be like a guest post where we can get whatever we want with every single guest post, right? And you'll see why in just a second. So if you watch any kind of SEO content on YouTube, you've probably seen this guy around. This is Ferry Kazoni. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name correctly, but he does a lot of digital PR. And here on his YouTube channel, he's got this video where he's got 100 links digital PR campaign case study. So just to show you what this type of link can look like, I've gone ahead and searched for the same thing so we can find some of the articles that are linking to the site. Here's one of them here from the New York Post. Las Vegas Chapel offers to host Taylor Swift Travis Kelce wedding for free. And scrolling down here, you can see the link to the client site. So depending on what your article's about, it might not be super relevant to your website or what you're exactly trying to rank for because the content has to be able to go viral. However, in this case, the article is actually very relevant to what the client does. Next up, the sites can be very powerful but less relevant. So you can see this example is a link coming from the New York Post, which is not really specific to weddings or what the client does, but that's okay. You know, this would be considered a much more general website, but it's extremely powerful. So we'll take that trade any day of the week. But you're going to still want more relevant links as well. One downside to digital PR is these campaigns can be quite expensive, and these links can end up costing you anywhere from $500 to $1,000 plus per link, but they're quite powerful, so it just really depends on what your priorities are at this given time. So you can see here, it looks like this website got about 134 from this campaign. And scrolling down, looking at the DR column, you can see that a lot of these links are quite powerful, coming from very general kind of news websites. But now, because you're making this content go viral, this can be a lot tougher for people to get a hold of and do themselves than something like getting guest posts or link insertions. Campaigns can also be kind of hit or miss. Even the professionals don't know if a campaign is going to work or not. And you also need to be on the lookout for borderline scams where a lot of these PR agencies, because things are more hit or miss, they might not be able to make content go viral, but because they've promised you a certain amount of links, they might, instead of it actually going viral and getting real links from all these sites naturally, they might come to an agency like ourselves and end up buying some guest posts or link insertions just to fill the quota and make sure that they get paid and you don't complain. So definitely something to keep in mind. But because of their cost, I like to do these when your website gets to higher authority levels, maybe DR 50 plus, just because it's a lot easier to get to about DR 50 without buying really expensive links like this. And then once you get there, you can start investing in other link building like digital PR if you have the budget for it. So how to get PR links. First of all, I'd say come over here to Ferry's channel on YouTube. He's going to do a lot better job at explaining things for me in this short video. However, the basic premise is to create viral content, do outreach to journalists, and then let the links come in. And when doing outreach for this type of link building, you're probably going to want to use something like Muckrack or Roxhill to really speed things up and to be able to reach the right people. But I think the really hard part here is creating viral content that these journalists are actually going to want to link to. And then how you need to be structuring your outreach emails when you're reaching out to this type of person, which is quite different from someone who just owns a blog. So yeah, definitely check out Ferry's channel for more info on that. Next up, I've got this bonus, which are linkable assets. And this is not really the same thing as digital PR, but it works somewhat the same way, which is that you are creating things that journalists like, except you're not really doing the outreach to them. You're waiting for them to come to your content. And the person who really popularized this, for me at least, was Brian Dean over at Backlinko. And you can see Backlinko's traffic is definitely doing pretty good right now. And we'll come over here to his best pages by links. And then looking at some of his best linked pages, you'll start to see some stuff where he writes articles about statistics. And the reason you write about something like statistics is because reporters like to use statistics when they're writing articles. So they find your statistics page, they use your statistic, and then they give you a backlink to credit you. So you can see here's one right here about Google click-through rate stats. So this one's actually pretty relevant for what his website is about, which is SEO. But then you have some that are a little bit less relevant, like this one, social network usage and growth statistics, which is not really something that he really writes about too much. Here's another one, Instagram statistics 2024, TikTok statistics, ad blockers usage and demographics, Facebook and user growth stats, WhatsApp user stats, SEO stats, Twitter stats. Yeah, scrolling up here, you can see that this article right here just by itself earned 2,510 referring domains, which is pretty crazy. And you can see he's got a DR of 90, so things are working out pretty well for him. And the general process is create the stats page, rank it, and then profit. So you actually need people to see it before they'll be able to link to it. So you actually need it to be on page one, which means you might need to do some guest posting or some link insertions to the article to actually rank it before the free links really start pouring in. Next up, we've got Haro, which is now called Connectively. And this is another way to get links from journalists, but in this case, we're actually going to be answering questions for them rather than attracting them or doing outreach. So you can see these are relevant, contextual, no-follow links on real sites. Yes, most Connectively or Haro links are generally no-follow links, but that's just fine. They come from new articles, so they don't have any pre-existing backlinks like link insertions, and you can't really control the relevance on these things. Journalists from Business Insider are always on Connectively looking for sources for information. And scrolling down this article right here, here in this first paragraph, you can see we have this quote, "When you start ranking well on the search engine results page, you're not paying for the traffic that comes to you," said Neil Taparia, who's relied heavily on the SEO to grow a seven-figure gaming company, Unwind Media. So this is a Haro backlink right here. And generally, Haro backlinks are going to use branded anchor text going just to your website's homepage. So you can't control the relevance, but generally you cannot also control the target URLs or the anchor text. Haro backlinks can generally be cheap or expensive. Cheap if you're doing them yourself, and they can be a little bit costly if you're getting an agency to do them. But they can also be pretty cheap if you're just hiring a VA to do them for you in-house. It's worth noting that Haro used to be free, but now you can only do 10 pitches per month for free. And they did this in an effort to fight the AI spam that was going on over at Haro. In general, you're going to want to do a lot more than 10 pitches per month because 10 pitches does not mean 10 backlinks. It means that you're just sending 10 pitches and maybe they'll choose you, maybe they won't. And this is definitely going to be a numbers game. You're going to want to send a lot of pitches. And you can see now looking at their pricing plans, it ends up being about $1 per pitch. Even on the Premier plan, it's about $150 a month for 150 pitches per month. And then you can buy more pitches if you need to. So with Haro links, they're pretty hit or miss. You really never know if you're going to land them or not. And links can even come in months and months and months after you did the pitches. So you really don't have the same control as something like a link insertion or a guest post. But the websites can often be very powerful, like in the case we were looking at Business Insider just a second ago. The downside being that the domains aren't exactly super relevant, but we'll still take these more general, very powerful domains. So how to get these things? You're just going to go sign up over at Connectively. Once you've signed in, your dashboard will look something like this. There's a bunch of cool ways you can filter these things. But let's say I wanted to find queries about SEO. I could just type in SEO up here. So you can see there are 6 active queries that have SEO in the title. You could also come over here and just sort by topic, for example, technology. And I like to sort by newest first and try to be one of the first people to reply to the query. And last up for number 5, we got press releases, which are a little bit different from the other types of links we've been talking about, but we'll get to that in just a sec. You can see they are relevant, contextual, no-follow links on news sites. So this is different because it really only comes from news websites. And these are new articles, and every article is going to be the same when you do your press release blast, and they're going to come in a bunch all at the same time. So on this press release we did a while back, you can see we've got about 34 indexed results. And you can see scrolling down that the titles are all exactly the same. It's just how it works with press releases. It's the same article being distributed to a bunch of different news platforms. And coming in and looking at this one, you can just see it looks like a pretty standard news article that then links out to where we want it to link to and talks a little bit about the news from our company. So depending on what type of press release you get, they can be relatively inexpensive because you're getting kind of a big group of links all at the same time, and it might end up costing you the same as like one or two guest posts. But just remember they are no follow links, and we actually consider this type of link a foundational link or a pillow link, which is very different from something like an editorial style link, which is like a guest post, a link insertion, a Haro link, a digital PR link. Foundational and pillow links are really just used for adding link diversity, creating naturalness, and stuff like that. But they can definitely help your rankings, just not quite as much as like real links from editorial type services. So how to get press releases? First of all, you could go through an agency like ourselves to get them for the cheapest price possible, as we're buying them in bulk. Or you could get them yourself just by Googling press release service and just coming in here and looking at all these different ones right here and finding which one you want to use. Just note that each one of these is going to be a little bit different and they are going to be able to get you articles on different types of websites. However, we just use EIN most of the time just because they are cheaper and this is a type of foundational or pillow link, so it doesn't really do the same thing as like a guest host or something like that. But you can see here there are other platforms which are a lot more expensive that can get you links on other types of websites. I don't think getting links from those other websites, because it is a press release, I don't think it's going to do much for your SEO. However, it could be cool for getting trust badges and just kind of looking cool and more trustworthy to your clients. And one thing I'll add for this is when you're doing press releases, try to be very natural with your target URLs and your anchor text. Don't try to be very aggressive using exact match anchors or partial match anchors and linking to a bunch of money pages. Just try to be very natural, link to your homepage in most cases, or if you release a new service, you can link to that page and just use very natural anchor text like branded anchors, URL anchors, generic anchors. These are a very natural type of backlink, so when you're building this type of backlink, just be as natural as possible. Don't try to be spammy, don't try to be very aggressive. Keep it natural, and that's going to be the best thing for you. Next up, we've got our honorable mention, other foundational links. And why we like other foundational links is because they add backlink diversity and naturalness to your backlink profile. So it's not going to do the same thing as a link insertion or a guest post or a PR link. However, they help round out your backlink profile, look really natural, and add some diversity in. Example of these are social profiles like our Facebook profile for our brand page over here. Next up, we have Web 2.0s, which is when you make a little mini website on a website like Weebly, and then you can post content there like this. Next up, we have directories, like over here, we've got a plumbing directory, which is a directory just for plumbers you can get listed in. Next up, we got citations, which is kind of like a directory, but you have your name, address, and your phone number, and you can build these for mainly local websites, but you can do them for any type of website, really. Next up, we got social signals, which is when a link to your website is shared on social media, and then it is maybe shared by other people or liked or commented on. We don't really count these as backlinks at all, but there is a form of link diversity. Then we've got audio and video links. For example, on my YouTube channel, whenever I post a video, I've got these links here in the description, including a link to my link building agency. And there's a lot more of these things. Got slideshow links, infographic links, cloud stacking, and a lot more. But these are just some of my favorite ones right here. You can get these types of links from a provider such as ourselves. You can see we've got diversity link packs, pillow link packs, social signals, social profiles, citations, etc. Or you can build them completely yourself. The thing with these types of links is that they are free to build. You just have to have the time to do them. But as these links take a lot of time to build and they don't have much value as they are free, a lot of people tend to get them from a agency or to hire a VA to build them, because doing these things yourself would just really not be worth your time. But if you got a lot of time and not a lot of money, you can definitely do it yourself for free. And I also want to stress, when you're doing any kind of link building, you want to build for the long term. Treat link building as an investment so that your traffic ends up looking something like this and not something like this. And how you can do that is focusing on quality over quantity. Don't be like these guys who want to try to build 100 backlinks per month just to catch their competitors, and so they end up building a bunch of free and really cheap and spammy backlinks. And also focus on being natural rather than being super aggressive. That means focusing on relevance, whether it's article level relevance, domain level relevance, or paragraph level relevance. Focus on link diversity, which means building a bunch of different types of backlinks, because this is what actually happens in the real world. Make sure that you're linking to target URLs that actually make sense and would be good at attracting backlinks naturally versus doing something like getting really heavy on link building to a product page. And make sure to diversify your anchor text as well. So you can use some exact match and partial match, but be sure to use a lot of the supernatural stuff as well, like branded URL and generic anchors. So just to recap, my number one type of backlink for ranking websites on Google is link insertions. They're cheap, they're powerful, they're relatively easy to get. Next up, we have guest posts, which are a little bit more expensive, but also more relevant. Next up, we got digital PR for when your website has a higher authority level and you want to get some monster backlink. Oh, just had a really big lightning there. Next up, we've got Haro and connectively, which are no follow backlinks for more general websites, but we still love these things. And last up, we've got press releases and other types of foundational backlinks for looking natural and really rounding out your backlink profile. All right, guys, that's it for now. If you like the content, go ahead and give me a like and a sub. And also go ahead and give me a follow on LinkedIn and Twitter as I'm just starting to get active over there as well. All right, bye bye.